I've been giving you the worst. Now you wanna stay the night. Pretty how you work hard for me, while forgetting how to talk. Nah, I don't like no humble beats. Just go and suck it up. Now it's time to marinate, and we're left with done. I like it when you're looking like that. I like it when you shit, chat shit. I like it when you're looking like that. Oh, shy, just fine, don't mind my reaction. I like it when you look like that. Don't wanna watch a bugger with a white mouth. Just like it when you're looking like that. No sweets, no rush, you can't fight my attraction. Don't think twice, I'm here for a moment. No, I like him better. I got a church place somewhere you end up making last forever. I've been giving you the worst. Now you wanna stay the night.
I do apologise if the sound went a bit funny then. I do apologise. Telling me I have perfect levels, but who knows? Who knows? Hi. Morning. Yeah. I had some complaints in the chat then. The audio went a bit funny. It went a bit loud. Am I coming through all right? Am I too low, too high? I don't know. It's telling me I'm perfectly fine. No, I listened to it online and it did sound shite for some strange reason. I don't know. We are at PMQs actually. We're just waiting for it to start. It should be starting in a few minutes. Just right now, is it? Let me there you go. Yeah, I've been adjusting the audio settings. Didn't get it quite right. It's telling me I had the levels down okay. So now I know. Yeah, we're just waiting for PMQs to start. Actually, let me go back onto the screen. Been some interesting. Let's say good morning to a few people first. Good morning, Vanish. One Must, Peter, Swift and Bold, Fraser, Ford. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, Jamie's Man House. Hello, Princess. How are you? Good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining. Right, let me just move back a little bit, get myself comfortable. Right, can you all still hear me now? Hear me now? There we go. Right, change my glasses so I can read. No, I got to sit closer because the mic's not cutting in and out. Mic's cutting in and out. There we go. La 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 la. Oh, that's nice. Miss me. No, I haven't been out. I haven't been well. So, and the weather hasn't been nice. And I'm not going out and get even iller. Right, what was I doing? We were going on to PMQs. We're going to refresh this page a minute. Not started yet. Oh, it will begin shortly. So some of the questions that are going to be asked today are, let me change my glasses again so I can read. It's a bit mad, isn't it? I can't see out my varifocals yet. What steps? Let's have a look. Question. Questions to the Attorney General. I don't know if these are to the Prime Minister yet, but we'll just wait out a minute. Let's talk to the chat. Someone said, hello Debbie, how are you? Somebody said in the chat about Richie being elected, and obviously he's not being elected by us, he was obviously elected by the others of the party. So do you think there should be a set of rules, you know, how long you've been, if you obviously, anyone can be Prime Minister, but then should there be how much money the Prime Minister has? Because I take it Richie Sunak is one of the richest Prime Ministers we've ever had, if not the richest Prime Minister we've had. So, what does everyone think on that? Let's, should be starting shortly. It says 11:30, but they normally go into the house just a little bit sooner. Anyway, let's put this background music in. Hopefully, let's come out lower than I am and not too annoying. What's your thoughts on patriotism? See, this is it. Ireland's coming out, but then I think a lot. You look at Bristol. Bristol is surrounded by migrant hotels now, and you know, camps of whatever sort there is. Some cities are going to stand up and fight. Some cities will sit there and take it. You know, some cities have won their fight and just sat back down and, you know, let everyone else get on with it. Ireland seems to be, you know, not putting up with it, are they? I don't know. Are we going to stop it? No, I can't see it stop it, because Richie Sunak can stop it tomorrow. You know, and all the meantime, we've got this happening. We then got Boris Johnson in. Wow. See, my microphone's just cut. Right, there you go. I don't know what's happening there. My microphone. I think it's the channel that's cutting out. Right, I'm going to change my channel over. Hang on, guys. I think, there we go. What it is, my sliders, I think there's a bit of dirt on the fader, so it's affecting the pickup, affecting the microphone, so that should be better. I can't remember what my trader thought was. Yeah, we got Boris Johnson over in the States rallying Congress to send more money and more aid to Ukraine. Now, my question is, whoa, it's gone again. Whoa, see, my microphone keeps dropping in and out. I don't know what that is. See, my question is why is Boris Johnson getting involved still? Is he's just a mere backbencher now? And we've got him over, you know, is he really the Prime Minister still? There's conspiracy theorists, and we all know that Noah was a conspiracy theorist until it rained, didn't he? You know, I got that saying from two boomers that's on the new badge. You know, so we've got all these conspiracy theorists to say that Boris Johnson is still the secret Prime Minister and he's off doing all these deals and, you know. Is he? Isn't he? You know, because today's conspiracy theory is tomorrow's truth. Yeah, well, someone said neither runs the country, but we all know that the World Economic Forum is running the country at the moment, don't we? So take that as you will. Right, let's have a look. Come on, PM. No, I need this. Oh, I nearly ended the wrong one. I nearly... Ooh, here we go. Still waiting. I don't think there's going to be much mentioned regarding immigration today. It looks like mainly domestic violence and protection against victims of the Crown Prosecution Service. And we all know, you know, PMQs should be, you know, relevant questions that are asked by the people. Not, you know, these are made-up questions given to the Prime Minister, you know, 2 or 3 days or even a week before to come up with some sort of feasible answer. You know, and my also question is now we know that Nadeem Zawawi is being sacked or being removed from post. What about Richie? Because there's some questions about his money, isn't there? So really should, you know, is that not pot calling kettle black, is the way I see it. Oh, where's that gone? Oh, screen's gone. Hang on, I got the shared screen is gone. Stop sharing. And I got to reshare it now because it just messed up. Parliament. Allow. There we go. I don't know why it went then for some bizarre, strange reason. So how is everyone? How is Vanished? How is life in Scotland treating you? Oh, I really need to fix that slider. That's pissed me off. Slider? Fader. Do 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 do. Do do. Oh! We may be starting. Oh, that was me. I unmuted the wrong one. No, not yet. See, I haven't connected another monitor up, so I'm using one monitor, so it's quite difficult. I should have the one on one screen, but oh, here we go. Oh, I popped out the window, you twat. Idiot. The proceeding will start shortly. Yes, we know the proceeding will start shortly. Right, you won't be able to hear that yet until I bring the audio in on you. You should be able to hear the audio now.
The proceeding will start shortly.
Tell me what you just heard.
The proceeding will start shortly.
Don't come in front of the camera, darling. You should have just heard the proceeding will start shortly. Can you tell me that you heard that?
The proceeding will start shortly.
Happy days. And that audio's okay on them as well. Is it okay? Or do I need to turn it down or up?
The proceeding will start shortly.
Yes, Matt. Hopefully the proceeding is cancelled.
The proceeding will start shortly. The proceeding will start shortly.
Good.
The proceeding will start shortly.
God, she's fucking annoying, isn't she? Let me just hear her.
The proceeding will start shortly.
So I can just hear her. You won't hear it now, I don't think. Until it
proceeding will start shortly.
Until it goes in my ears. There we go.
The proceeding will start shortly.
All right, yeah, we know. We know the proceeding will start shortly.
The proceeding will start shortly.
Bit late today, isn't it?
The proceeding will start shortly.
It's a bit late today. It's 11:33.
The proceeding will start shortly. The proceeding will start shortly.
Here we go. We should be going in now.
The proceeding will start shortly.
Oh, we're live anyway, because we can only go backwards and not forwards, and the agenda's just changed. So we should.
The proceeding will start shortly.
Here we go. And we're in. And they're off. You won't hear any them in. You won't hear them yet because they might be talking.
Order. We start with questions to the Attorney General. We're Hobhouse.
Number one, Mr. Speaker.
So these ain't questions to the Prime Minister there.
Mr. Speaker. Tackling violence against women and girls remains one of the government's top priorities, and we're doing all we can to make streets and homes safer. We're prioritising prevention, supporting survivors, and strengthening our pursuit of aggressors.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is a well-known national scandal that only 3% of rape cases have led to charges against the perpetrator. Locally, Avon and Somerset Police are making big strides towards change. They have tripled charge rates, bringing more cases to the CPS, and have changed their investigative focus from the victim to the perpetrator. I'm immensely proud of this progress and hope that my local area could become part of the ongoing pilot for specialist rape courts. Can the Minister confirm when a decision on the further rollout of specialist rape courts will be made, and will my local Crown Court be considered to be part of the next stages?
Let me see if I can enlarge this a minute.
Evidence is being gathered from our 3 specialist courts, but I should emphasise that every Crown Court tries rape cases and will benefit from the learning. The South West, as the Honourable Lady has outlined, is really showing the way by demonstrating new ways of working with the police, providing specialist training to all first responders. They're also, I hear, planning a community event later this month.
Prosecution rates for the appalling crime of rape against women and girls have been too low across the country. What impact does my right honourable friend believe that Operation Soteria will have?
That's okay, Princess. We're here till 12 anyway. We'll just play it.
Thank the Honourable Lady for her question. She's always a great advocate for vulnerable people. Operation Soteria is focused on delivering cultural transformation in the investigation of rape offences. It looks to ensure that the victim is really well supported and the case thoroughly investigated. I was glad to see joint working between the police and CPS when I visited Leeds last Friday. They're working closely together and crucially with support services such as ISFAs to make sure we really deliver for victims.
Mr. Speaker, a most recent revelation in Northern Ireland is that a man was punished with 140 hours of community service after domestically assaulting his wife on 2 different occasions. What steps will the Attorney-General take to ensure that harsher sentences are given to those guilty of inflicting violence on women? We need harsher sentences, Minister. Thank you.
What sentences are given to migrants when they stab at people?
Important case.
It's mental
of course,
health.
sentencing is a matter for the independent judiciary and, of course, for the Ministry of Justice and the Sentencing Council. But I know that he shares our desire in government to do all we can to make sure that the victims of violence against women and girls get justice.
Not many people in the House at the moment, is there? And I know PMQs don't really start until midday, like somebody said, but let's see how many people join for PMQs.
Something that had been hoped for over many years and seems to be delivering results. And I don't know if she'd anything she can say about the rollout of this to the country as a whole.
I thank my learned friend for his question. I know that this is something that he has personally been working on for many years. It is true to say, I think, that joint working is the answer. And in Leeds on Friday, I was able to see a police gatekeeper, he's called, but I think a better word would be interpreter, who was able to work between the lawyers and the victim and
That's a very, very,
really
very good term,
that
actually.
the case was investigated
the first line of
properly right from the
defence.
beginning and that disclosure was managed in a sensible way.
Question number 2, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, all victims of crime deserve the right support, and the CPS has published the findings of independent research and is implementing changes based on this to deliver what victims need. And there is new and innovative victim communication for half of CPS areas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Justice delayed is justice denied. But as of September 2022, there were more than 17,300 Crown Court cases that have been outstanding for a year or more, and nearly 5,000 outstanding for over 2 years. What does the Attorney-General have to say to the victims of those crimes?
I think Mungby said that. Justice delayed is justice denied.
And to those who cannot cope with any more delay, even if that means allowing their cases to collapse.
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Gentleman raises an important point, and the Attorney-General and I are working very closely with the Ministry of Justice. Of course, in terms of the CPS and the time that takes for cases to be heard, there have been good progress in that regard, and the most recent figures show that 171 days on average that the CPS has, and I'm determined to see that improve and
But
increase.
you look at how many people are on bail for minor offences or released pending investigation now. It's like unreal.
So can my honourable friend tell me what the CPS is doing to inform and support people to navigate the criminal justice system?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm grateful to my honourable friend for her interest in this important area. And the CPS has launched a new online guide for victims, which ensures that they have access to the necessary information. As my honourable friend hinted at, she is right. Accessible information is the key to supporting victims and ensure that they can navigate the criminal justice system.
Alternative.
The attorney will be aware that victims of crime are being badly let down, waiting months and years for their cases to come to court. But the problem is being exacerbated by the fact that there's now a disparity between criminal defence barristers' pay and prosecution barristers. What does the attorney intend to do to right that wrong and put victims first?
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Gentleman is right to say that we should be putting victims first, and indeed we are doing so. On the specific question that he raises, the Treasury has agreed to consider the CPS funding position following the publication of the Criminal Legal Aid Independent Review, which is a report that he will know about. Discussions regarding fees and funding are ongoing, but I fully support him in putting victims first and ensuring that these cases are brought on as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Can I put on the record my thanks to the Solicitor General for his compassion and care when dealing with the very tragic case of Charlotte Skye, who lost her life along Endon Road in Norton Green. He will know that Claire, and Charlotte's mother, has felt failed because ultimately it took over a year to get simple answers from a blood test as to whether, in this case, someone had been drinking and on drugs. What engagement has the Solicitor General had with the DFT about their review to speed up answers for our police officers and, most importantly, speed up answers for victims of this horrific crime?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and may I pay tribute to my honourable friend who has diligently and vigorously pursued his constituent's case. I well remember the adjournment debate that he brought to this House and the important points that he raised concerning the unduly lenient sentence scheme. In terms of working closely across government, that is something that I'm determined to do.
Unduly lenient scheme is when paedophiles get less than, you know what I mean, murderers and rapists and things like that.
I would like to thank the House
because, like, the judiciary is full of paedophiles.
Report, which highlights the complexity of this historic office. It's an honour to serve to make law and politics work together at the heart of government.
Blair,
Mr. Speaker, the Constitution Committee rightly says that we need law officers, and I quote, with the independence of mind, autonomy and strength of character to deliver impartial legal advice to the government, even where it's unwelcome. I'm sure the Attorney General agrees with that. But can she give a single example of where her predecessor met that standard in the advice that she gave to the government?
I thank the honourable gentleman for his question, but he knows, and we all know, I think, that the Attorney General's Convention means that I don't comment specifically on the advice that has been given by any holder of this office.
I'm telling you what, they're a bit shoddy with their camera changing this morning.
Advice was given. Seriously, and I think this is a serious matter, I think the report highlights some very important points on how the law officers work in combination as politicians and as lawyers. That is something that I take extremely seriously myself. I know that I have duties to the court as well as duties to my constituent and to the government. And I think it's very important that we treat this with the seriousness it deserves.
Chair of the Select Committee, Sir Robert Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I think the Attorney has just demonstrated that she and the solicitor are well up to the task. Might I just say that in welcoming the report, as she also does, would she also recognise that in stressing the importance of the attorney as the person who speaks truth to power to government, it's important to recognise also that the attorney must therefore, and the law officers must also be consulted in timely fashion and appropriately and fully on any controversial matters which may have a legal aspect, and that government and fellow ministers should then listen and act accordingly consistently.
I thank the honourable gentleman, very learned gentleman, on whose committee I was extremely proud to sit for many years, for his question, which I think was more of a statement, Mr. Speaker. And I think it's important to note that the government's commitment to the rule of law is absolute, and I will do my very best to uphold that.
Oh, I don't know why it's sticking all the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And may I join the attorney by thanking the Constitution Committee for this excellent report, which I have to say is a damning indictment of the former Attorney General, but also a helpful warning for current and future holders of the post. Can I ask the Attorney General about one specific point in relation to the report, though? Does she agree that it would be helpful to provide greater clarity within the ministerial code on the duties of law officers, particularly when it comes to upholding the rule of law within government and providing impartial legal advice, regardless of political considerations, both areas that the former Attorney General fell so drastically short on?
I have looked often at the ministerial code, and I think the section that deals with legal advice is sufficient. I notice, to go back to the previous question, that it is suggested that the advice sought should be timely, but of course all lawyers who are present in this chamber knows that that is not always the way with clients, and we do our best to accommodate them. On some things, however, we can clearly be less accommodating, however, and the rule of law is an absolute thread which runs through the legal advice that is provided by the holders of this office.
Emily Thornbury.
Thank the Attorney General for
Emily
that answer.
Thornbury, she ate all the pie. She ate all the pie. Emily Thornbury, she ate all the pie.
Which requires ministers to inform law officers if they risk becoming involved in legal proceedings in a personal capacity.
God, look at that sparkler she's got
when
on.
they are potential defendants, or in relation to potential defamation cases, and preferably before they have instructed their own solicitors. On that basis, I ask the Attorney General to clarify 2 points of fact. Are ministers currently obliged to inform law officers
far too much
either
money.
if their solicitors are sending letters to journalists threatening to sue them for libel, or if they are under investigation by HMRC over the non-payment of taxes?
I'm not going to comment.
She said, well, I only had a little sweet. What,
The
a
honourable
fucking
lady
three-piece
will
sweet?
understand why that is the case. I think the ministerial code allows for a certain level of wriggle room on that particular area. It is clear that when proceedings are already commenced, that it is essential to ask the law officer's opinion on those proceedings, but I think she and I both know that it is not always clear at the beginning of a series of letters which may or may not lead to proceedings when that moment should be. I would always caution, as I'm sure she would, that it would be good to involve the law officers at an early stage of proceedings, but I can't comment on specific cases and whether or not that was done.
Robert Court.
Number 4, Mr. Speaker.
I thank my
he's well
for his
backbenched there.
question.
What's his name?
This government firmly believes in international accountability.
What's his name? The one who's lying on the old sleeping in the Commons.
For prosecuting war crimes right now in real time during a very brutal conflict. On Monday, I met a delegation of Ukrainian judges in this building and heard how they are approaching this monumental task. They're very grateful for our practical support, including an extensive training programme led by Sir Howard Morrison.
Robert Court. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Attorney General for that question. I mean, what assessment has she made of the international community's progress in bringing Russian leadership to trial for the crime of aggression in Ukraine?
I think they've been quite reserved in Ukraine, actually, if truth be told. And, we've been poking the bear for quite a long time now.
we have joined a core group of states to discuss the establishment of a bespoke tribunal. We are absolutely determined to play a leading role in ensuring international accountability for Russia's actions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will there be Russian war reparations to Ukraine? And how can the UK support that?
By not giving any more fucking money. That's how the UK can support that one.
The international community is
Simple
rightly
done.
focused on prosecution for war crimes. I think that is the right focus because we hope that we will, by so doing, have a good.
What about the
effect
war
on
crimes when the
behaviour of those
people, the
fighting
Alley
this
of Angels, when all the
At
children got
moment,
killed?
we
What about the
undoubtedly
war
are starting
crimes
to
when
turn our minds
they
to
locked all the
reparations, and
people
there is a great
inside
deal
the
of work
building and set
going
it
on
alight,
within
and when they
government
tried to escape,
as to how
they
we best support the Ukrainians to do that. I know
shot
the
them.
Secretary of State for
You know, what about all those war crimes?
Shadow Minister Andy Slaughter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 3 weeks ago, the Secretary of State for Justice told me from the dispatch box that Russian war crimes will be pursued via Ukrainian domestic courts and the International Criminal Court, even though that denied the possibility of prosecuting Putin and his inner circle for the crime of aggression. And at the time, the Attorney General appeared to share his view. Last week, the Foreign Office welcomed the special tribunal necessary to try Putin, saying it would complement the established mechanism.
And what's that going to cost the UK taxpayer in doing so? Right, when it's got fuck all to do with us.
Explain and confirm what by any definition is a
And mind
screeching
you,
U-turn in
it's an
government
act of
policy.
war. Giving them a Challenger tanks,
Mr.
giving them the
Speaker, I'm afraid I
AS-90s,
really would
giving them
not
ammunition.
describe this as a
It's
screeching
under the Geneva
U-turn.
Convention. It's an act
not
of
at
war.
all. This is a development of a very, very difficult area of international law. I would just listen to me for a moment. This is a very delicate area of international law. This is a live and brutal conflict. We are all agreed on that. It is right that most of the prosecutions take place in Ukraine with real
when our challengers
evidence,
get there,
with
and mind you,
present,
we're not
and
sending
those
our
prosecutions
Challenger
going well. I
tanks
think
with
we all
Dorchester
support
and
the
Chobham
Ukrainian
armour. Do
judiciary
you
in doing
think
that.
we would
I
be
hope very much
that
that there will be an
stupid to send it with Dorchester and Chobham?
of accountability
You know, we
following
have
this
never
war.
lost
I
a
suspect
Challenger
that many
tank
courts will need to
in
be involved,
battle.
both the ICC
That's why
and any
our
special
armour is still secretive and the best in the world.
Mr. Speaker,
Do you think that we're going to send a
today
tank
since
with
the
all that
beginning
on?
of Russia's
I don't think so.
invasion of Ukraine, and an estimated 7,000 civilian lives have been
Well,
lost
if you look
during
at
this time.
illegal invasions, right? So Putin's done exactly what we did in the Balkans, didn't we? When we went into, when we were asked to go in as UN.
What further
Yeah,
support
exactly.
will be given
And look how we
information
fucked that
sharing,
up.
gatherings, and ensuring legal expertise will be fully utilised to hold Russian war criminals to account?
I thank the Honourable Lady for his question. It's fortuitous that the Lord Chancellor has just entered the chamber because he is hosting an important conference with the Dutch in March to discuss how further we can help and support the work of the ICC. We further have the work of the Special Tribunal, which I mentioned, and we are providing a great deal of practical help on the ground, training Ukrainian judges and providing funding to help them to find evidence and to prosecute these crimes effectively.
Edward Tibbs.
Speaker, question 5. With permission, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to group questions 5 and 6 together, and I'd first like to pay tribute to my honourable friend and his work as Solicitor General, and from that work he will know the significant amount of funding in the criminal justice system to help improve the waiting times for victims, and both the Attorney and I have seen that firsthand in our visits to regional CPS areas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Solicitor for his answer, and further to the point raised by the Honourable Gentleman for Kingston upon Hull East. In the first 3 quarters of 2022, there have been 235 ineffective Crown Court trials caused by prosecution absence, the highest annual total since 2014, and compared with just 19 in 2019. The recent uplift to defence fees has meant that there's now more money in defending than prosecuting, and consequently the CPS is struggling to find enough prosecutors for trials. So what timescales is my honourable and learned friend working towards in order to try and address this situation?
Mr. Speaker, I am grateful to my honourable friend for raising this point. And of course I recognise the importance of ensuring that all those who work in the criminal justice system, both defence and prosecution, are paid and rewarded appropriately. He will have heard my answer earlier on. It is right that the Treasury has agreed to consider the CPS funding position. Discussions are ongoing, and I know my honourable friend will keep pressing.
Rob Mayo. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The police are doing an excellent job in Broadland. They've just opened a new response centre at Posset, improving response times and housing some of the many additional officers that this government has provided. The CPS is the next line in the criminal justice journey. The CPS Inspectorate undertook a report on local provision in March 2022. Can my honourable and learned friend provide an update to the House on the performance since that date?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very grateful to my honourable friend, and I recognise his expertise and interest in this area as well. The inspection report for the East of England praised the quality of the work done within the area, and the latest data suggests performance continues to be strong. The area is now making all crime charging decisions quicker than it was previously, and he will be pleased to know that in the face of the backlog, the conviction rate for his region for the CPS remains reassuringly high at 85%.
Ellen Colburn. 7, Mr. Speaker.
We're committed to upping the volumes of prosecutions and supporting more victims. That's why we enacted new provisions to increase the time victims have to report domestic abuse offences to ensure that we can bring more offenders to justice.
And will you be bringing offenders to justice that make false accusations as well? Because we've got to look at it. A lot of women don't come forward.
Than the London average. Now, local charities like the Sutton Women's
Centre
do a
women
great job
make it
in
up.
training people to spot the signs. But what assurance can the Attorney General give me that CPS staff also get access to that same training to bring this level of crime down?
I'd like to thank the Sutton Women's Centre for the fantastic work that they do, training the community to spot the signs of domestic abuse. All prosecutors in London are now domestic abuse trained, and close working with the police should really continue to increase the rate of prosecutions.
Mr. Speaker, you may remember that the SFO successfully prosecuted Glencore Energy Limited, and the total amount the company will pay, £280 million, is the highest ever ordered in a corporate criminal conviction in the United Kingdom. We continue to work closely with the SFO to identify any policy changes that could support their ambition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Solicitor General for his answer? My constituency, Newcastle-under-Lyme, are really concerned to see the government crack down on corporate criminality. So can I ask him to set out what measures the government is considering in the Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Bill to address corporate crime?
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for his question and for his interest. And the government does recognise that the current law does not go far enough, and that's why we've committed to address the need for a new failure to prevent offence through the Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Bill. And in addition, we're introducing a provision to extend the SFO's pre-investigation powers.
Let's get on to the good stuff. We want to hear the Prime Minister. Is he coming to the House yet?
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. By convention, whether the law officers have been asked to provide advice and the contents of such advice are, as I said earlier, not disclosed outside government. This convention enables candid legal advice to be given.
Stuart C. McDonald. Mr. Speaker, why was the prospect of a Section 35 order not raised at any point prior to the bill being overwhelmingly passed by the Scottish Parliament? What alternatives did she look at? And when will she set out the changes to the bill that she would want to see before the government would revoke the Section 35 order? These are simple questions, and if she can't answer them, all we can conclude is that the government has lost the last shred of respect it has for the Scottish Parliament.
But, Mr. Speaker, that would be absolutely the wrong conclusion to draw. The Attorney General's convention is clear. The UK government respects the Scottish Parliament's ability to legislate within its competence on devolved areas. The government is committed to working together with the DAs and strengthening the union of the UK.
Mary Kelly Foy.
Oh, the house is heating up.
Mr. Speaker, we're committed to delivering justice for victims of
We got
hate
Indy
crime.
in the back. Right,
All
Indy,
CPS
if you can hear me,
prosecutors are
right,
trained
it's got a
on
mixed
hate
minor,
crime,
so
and its
if
specialist
you
prosecutors
speak,
help to lead
you
this
will
work.
hear
The latest
yourself
figures show
back,
that CPS
all
has
right?
prosecuted nearly 13,000 hate
just
crime
letting you know.
offences with a charge rate of 86% and,
Yeah.
importantly,
Yo.
a conviction rate of 84%.
Mary Kelly Foy.
Indeed.
Mr. Speaker, as we mark the
Yeah.
start of LGBTQ History Month,
I heard what you
it's
said.
shocking to see
Good.
the year-end figures for hate crime, with a 41%
I want to speak about last night's incident in Cookstown.
people's
All
sexuality and a 56%
You can do that
increase
after
in
PMQs because they're about to start in 1 minute.
transgender identity.
Well,
Can the
do so.
Attorney General tell me what her government is doing to stop the prejudice and fear being stoked against the LGBTQ community, which is leading to this rise in crime?
There he is, Roland!
Lady, that in her area,
Sorry,
the CPS
sorry, that
in
just
the
like
North East is particularly
really
successful
read it out.
in getting uplift services in relation to hate crime, and that over the last rolling year to date, they have been successful in obtaining uplifts in 90% of cases. The question that the Honourable Lady raises is an important one, and the CPS is working incredibly hard in that area.
Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, I would like to point out the British Sign Language interpretation of proceedings is available to watch on Parliament Live TV. I start with questions to the Prime Minister.
Order.
When you're ready, Mr Davis, we'll start. Kirsty Blackman.
Question 1, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I know the whole House will want to join me in sending condolences to the First Minister of Wales on the death of his wife, Claire.
Was she vaccinated by any chance?
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Kirsty Blackman.
As the Prime Minister reaches 100 days in office this week, having pledged a government...
And in that 100 days, what the fuck has he done?
Having pledged a government marked by integrity, what are his thoughts on the UK being one of only 5 countries, along with Oman, Azerbaijan, Myanmar and Qatar, that has seen a decrease in Transparency International's corruption index score since last year?
What?
Well, Mr. Speaker, in fact, there's widespread recognition and support for the UK's approach to transparency and indeed tackling corruption. Indeed, the most recent report commended the UK for the steps that it had taken.
Sir Robert Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I refer to my entry in the Register of Interests. Arts Council England was established to increase access to great art for the population. There's real concern and anger that their current funding decisions do the exact reverse of that on the basis of inadequate evidence and a lack of transparency in the process. Will my right honourable friend meet with me and other concerned members to discuss the situation in which centres of national excellence like English National Opera
Looks like
risk of closure and discuss the way in which we can reform the operations of Arts Council, which many people no longer feel is fit for purpose?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I know that this is an issue that my honourable friend deeply cares about. He will know that decisions made by the Arts Council are taken at arm's length from government.
He looks like one of those blokes, study that last guy that you would meet inside public convenience.
A meeting with the relevant minister to discuss this important matter.
Look at the signet ring on his little
Now
finger.
comes the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Prime Minister in his words about the First Minister of Wales and the sad loss of his wife? Everybody, I think, knows just how close
Was
they
she
were.
vaccinated?
And I know that he's absolutely
was she
devastated by her loss.
I'm telling you, if she wasn't jabbed or wasn't vaccinated, I reckon that would have already been out there, wouldn't it? That would have been like, yeah. She was vaccinated.
So, in the interests of integrity and accountability, can he set the record straight? Did his now former chair tell government officials that he was under investigation by the taxman before or after the Prime Minister appointed him?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I appointed the independent adviser to investigate this matter fully.
He's got the same glasses as me.
His findings in detail over the weekend, and on receipt of those findings, I took action, and I'd refer the honourable gentleman to the independent adviser's report.
Keir Starmer.
Oh, come on! Anyone picking up a newspaper in July last year would have known
Savills
that HMRC and the National Crime Agency were investigating months before he appointed him. Mr. Speaker, the Independent, 6th of July, new Chancellor's finances secretly investigated by the National Crime Agency. The Observer, 3 days later, 9th of July, revealed officials raised flag over tax affairs before he was appointed Chancellor. The Financial Times, the next day, 10th of July, pressure bills to explain his finances. Is he saying his officials hid this information from him, or was he just too incurious to ask any questions?
Mr. Speaker, as I've said before at the dispatch box, the usual appointments process was followed with respect to the Minister without portfolio. No issues were raised with me at the time of his appointment, but as the independent adviser's report makes clear, there was a serious breach of the ministerial code, and that's why I took decisive action on receipt of that report.
So, in relation to his former chair, his defence is, nobody told me, I didn't know, I didn't ask any questions.
Plausible deniability, isn't it? Yeah, you know what I mean? That's all he plead, isn't it?
Going to claim that he was the
plausible deniability.
Prime Minister. Mr. Gullis, we heard enough last week. I can't hear what you're saying. I might not be able to hear what you're saying, but I can certainly see your mouth moving. It'll be moving outside if it continues. Prime Minister.
So for his former chair, nobody told me, I didn't know, I didn't ask any questions. Is the Prime Minister now also going to claim that he's the only person completely unaware of serious allegations of bullying against the Deputy Prime Minister before he appointed him?
Prime Minister.
So, Mr. Speaker, the honourable gentleman asked these questions about what was there, and I followed due process. I appointed an independent adviser as soon as I was made aware of new information. The independent advisers conducted this process. But if he is so concerned about what people are saying and is so concerned about behaviour in public life, then recently one of his own MPs was forced to speak out because being in his party had reminded her of being in an abusive relationship. And then his own office was caught undermining her. He ought to be supporting her and her colleagues, but if he can't be trusted to stand up for the women in his party, he can't be trusted to stand up for Britain.
Mr. Speaker, at the last count, the Deputy Prime Minister was facing 24 separate allegations of bullying. According to recent reports, some of the complainants were physically sick. One says they were left suicidal. How would he feel if one of his friends or relatives was being forced to work for a bully simply because the man at the top was too weak to do anything about it?
We were all locked down.
Mr. Speaker, I noticed he didn't say anything about why one of his own MPs describes being in his own party. And Mr. Niffer, when I was made aware of formal complaints, I instructed a leading independent KC to conduct an investigation because I take action when these things happen. But what did he say at the weekend? He said at the weekend that hate had been allowed to spread unchallenged in the Labour Party under his predecessor. He was speaking as if he wasn't even there. But he was sitting right next to him, supporting him for 4 long years, not challenging. And it is typical of him, Mr. Speaker, declining to lead, sitting on the fence, carping from the sidelines, and never standing up for a principle that matters.
You can't take him seriously, innit? It's like that, you know, that annoying little kid at school, the tiniest little one who thought he was the fucking bee's knees.
Either side.
But you blow him over, wouldn't you?
For people who want to continue.
He's like one of them.
Because we will sort it out today. Keir Starmer.
Speaker, he's just like one of his predecessors who treated questions about conduct as something to brush off, who thought that ducking responsibility was a perfectly reasonable response for a Prime Minister. At least in fairness, his predecessor didn't go around pretending he was a paragon of integrity and accountability. But on that subject, was it a coincidence that the two people who arranged an £800,000 line of credit for the former Prime Minister were both shortlisted for plum jobs at the BBC and the British Council?
Exactly. Boris Johnson applied for a loan and he got refused, but then
as we addressed
he
previously,
got
the appointment
underwriters,
process of the chairman is rigorous, it's transparent,
and then he got it. Then all of a sudden, these two people got jobs at the BBC.
Was fully supported not just by an expert panel members, but also by the cross-party DCMS Select Committee.
Jobs for money.
Including where Labour members described the appointment as impressive. But Mr. Speaker, back this week in terms of what is actually happening to the people of this country, he voted this week with the unions to oppose minimum safety levels. He voted with Just Stop Oil to water down the public order bill. And what do the unions and Just Stop Oil have in common? They bankroll him and his party, Mr. Speaker. So while he sides with extremist protesters and union bosses, we stand up for hard-working Britons and school children.
Well, no, you don't really. You know, you're just as bad as each other.
After 13 years in power, trying to blame the Labour Party for his failure to sort out the strikes it's rank pathetic. The Tory party's addiction to sleaze and scandal has done huge damage to this country, and the cost to the public.
He looks like he's going to run into a phone box, strip off his clothes, and then come out as Superman,
Heart attack victims wait hours for an ambulance. An economy that's shrinking quicker than his leadership. And even I couldn't quite believe it when I saw that his government is expecting taxpayers to pay the legal fees for the member for Uxbridge defending himself over his lockdown rule breaking. £250,000. Surely even this Prime Minister can put his foot down, stand up to his old boss and tell him he made the mess, he can pick up the bill.
Mr. Speaker, he can't stand up to his union bosses. He can't stand up for Britain's school children today. And he can't stand up for the women in his party, Mr. Speaker.
But he's surrounded with women, isn't he? Look at his party, his front bench.
We're cutting waiting lists and we're stopping the vote. While he can't even figure out what he believes in, we'll keep delivering for Britain.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Would my right honourable friend agree with me that the integrated care boards must prioritise more access to new GP services,
you know what I mean?
especially in places like South Derbyshire, where new housing estates are being built at the fastest rate in England, and in particular on the new brownfield development of Drake.
Who are those houses going to be given to?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the government is committed to increasing the number of doctors in general practice, and last year saw the highest ever number of doctors except a GP.
Because we got hundreds sailing in across the channel on a daily basis, haven't we, Ricky?
And my honourable friend will know that the NHS has a statutory duty to ensure sufficient medical services, including general practice, in each local area.
Got the same glasses as me,
Leader of the SNP, Stephen Flynn.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to pass on my condolences and indeed those of my party to the First Minister of Wales, and also to the family, friends and colleagues of firefighter Barry Martin, who so sadly lost his life following the blaze in Edinburgh just last week. Mr. Speaker, we've just marked the 3-year anniversary.
Just like to, pass on my condolence to homeless John, who served 22 years in the British Army, but didn't get any help and support, and he froze to death on the streets of England.
The UK's
just like to pass on my condolences to
the economy is being hit to the tune of £100 billion each year, and of course, we know that the UK's economy is expected to be the worst performing of all advanced nations. Does the Prime Minister still believe that the UK can afford not to be in the European Union?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, if you actually look at it, since Brexit, the UK has grown exactly the same as Germany has, Mr. Speaker. But not only that, we are taking advantage of Brexit to deliver for the people across the UK, whether it's the fishing and farming communities of Scotland, whether it's through the 2 new free ports that we've just announced. But, Mr. Speaker, the difference between his party and ours is that we respect referendums.
Mr. Speaker, let's be clear. Taken together, 2022 and 2023 are expected to be the worst years for living standards since the 1930s, and the economy is expected to perform worse than sanction-hit Russia. So as the Brexit ship sinks, with the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition at the helm, does he blame those Scots who want to jump aboard the independence lifeboat?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the number one factor that is impacting people's living standards, inflation, caused by high energy prices as a result of a war in Ukraine, Mr. Speaker. It's got nothing to do with Brexit, and that's why the government is taking significant action, supporting every family with £900 this winter. But what I would say to him is, rather than obsess about constitutional arrangements, focus on delivering for the people of Scotland. That's what we will do.
David Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The baby daughter of my constituents, Gary and Sarah Andrews, died just 23 minutes after she was born. When they asked questions about that, the parents were told that these things happen, and that if they had to listen to the concerns of every mother, they would be overrun. Thanks to dogged campaigning by Gary and Sarah and other parents whose babies had died avoidably, Nottingham University Hospital's trust was found to have systemic failures, and last week was given the highest fine that's ever been given for failings in maternity care. Does my right honourable friend agree with me that this case, this situation, has to serve not just as a watershed moment for having the highest standards of maternity care, but also that when things do go wrong in something like an NHS trust or another public body, they have to be open and honest and transparent about their failings, so that people can get the truth and not have it.
You know, you'll have to have maternity cover on your private health insurance and shit like that.
I'm very sorry to hear about the tragic case that my honourable friend raises, and I know the whole House will join me in sending our thoughts to Gary and Sarah. We want to make sure that the NHS is the best and safest place in the world to give birth, and the NHS has taken steps to improve, but cases such as the one that my honourable friend raises highlight that more must be done. Nottingham University Trust is receiving support from the expert maternity improvement advisors, and nationally the Royal College is implementing the recommendations from the independent Ockenden report, together with £127 million of extra investment. But my honourable friend is absolutely right. When situations like this do arise, transparency is paramount, so we can seek answers and make improvements.
Transparency is paramount. It's so
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's nearly 10 years since the tragic death of 9-year-old Ella Roberta, the first person ever to have air pollution listed on her death certificate. Yesterday's Environmental Improvement Plan pledges to improve air quality,
and where
but the
does she
government's
live?
targets
In
are
a
for
city where air
2040. That's a whole
pollution is going to
generation
be
away.
you know,
I don't think that's fast enough, and neither does Ella's mum, Rosamond Adu Kissy-Deborah. So on her mum's behalf, will the Prime Minister agree to meet us both to discuss the life-saving measures in a new proposed bill called Ella's Law?
Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, it's obviously very sad to hear the case of Ella, and our thoughts and hearts go out to her family. With regard to the legislation, as my honourable friend the Environment Secretary will make a statement later
and most
today,
cancers are
we are
caused by
confident that
environment.
the measures we are putting in place are not only legally binding but also world-leading in tackling air quality. The record over the past 10 years is one where every single air particulate has been reduced, with binding targets to continue reducing them in future, and indeed the Environment Act makes sure that we have the capability, accountability and ambition we need to to make all the effective interventions to drive down air pollution.
How did they actually link that death to air
Thank
pollution?
you, Mr. Speaker. Compared to what some people seem to believe, 82% of the jobs in our economy are in the private sector, compared to 18% in the public sector. Most of those private sector jobs will be in small businesses, the small businesses that we will depend upon for wealth creation and prosperity in the future. Will my right honourable friend consider bringing in a small business test across government so that every regulation we produce, every bit of legislation we produce will help, not hinder, small businesses? And does he share my ambition that every white van man and woman and every white coat tech worker in this country will regard the Conservative Party as their natural champions?
Well, my right honourable friend is absolutely right, and this government is proud to join with him in supporting small businesses. I'm pleased to tell my honourable friend that we do have a small business test to consider whether the impacts of regulatory changes will disproportionately affect small and micro businesses. I will make sure that we are applying that test rigorously, and he'll be pleased to know that many small businesses will benefit from billions of pounds in business rates reductions this coming financial year, as well as our annual investment allowance, which at £1 million is the most generous tax incentive for investment for small businesses anywhere in the world.
And McLaughlin.
Mr. Speaker, this morning, just 2 hours ago, I launched the APPG on prepayment meters. I did so because most people on these meters are on very low incomes, and yet they pay more per unit of energy than the Prime Minister does. They pay higher daily standing charges than the Prime Minister. They're automatically disconnected from their energy supply the second they run out of money. And perversely, right now, record numbers of people are being forced onto them by the energy companies. Can the Prime Minister even begin to imagine how terrifying that moment is when the lights go out and everything shuts down? And will he agree with me, rather than reading out, please, what he's got written in front of him, will he just agree with me that what I've just described is completely unfair?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the government does recognise the challenges facing those on prepayment meters, and that's why the government is taking action.
We want everyone
the Secretary of State has set out 5 very specific points on prepayment meters, energy suppliers being spoken.
They asked everybody to switch off for a few hours, but they will eventually be able to do that and say, well, we'll just switch you off for a couple of hours.
In relation to prepayment meters. But all of this, Mr. Speaker, comes on top of the considerable financial support that this government has provided to help people with their energy bills, with more of that support being targeted at the most vulnerable families in our society.
We're not passing on the reductions because the energy prices are not the same anymore.
After 8,000 residents of Reading signed my petition to bring back chemotherapy to the annex, the Trust reversed their decision to leave it at Kidderminster. A fantastic win for our town, and I'm grateful to the local acute trust for listening so carefully and changing their mind. So does the Prime Minister agree with me that it's right that the acute trust can change its mind on the provision of maternity and paediatric services so that women can give birth in our wonderful town of Reading?
Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend has clearly been a fantastic advocate for the Alex and for her constituents. We have awarded £10.5 million to the local trust, and I understand that some of that funding is being used to improve maternity and paediatric services at the nearby Worcestershire Royal. My honourable friend will know that these operational decisions are being made by integrated care boards, and I know that she will continue to make her views known.
Andrew Gwynn.
Mr. Speaker, if I had £1 for every time I'd heard the Prime Minister's weak excuses, I'd be able to pay the former Chancellor's tax bill. Because it was last July that it was reported that the National Crime Agency had investigated the Right Honourable Member for Stratford-on-Avon. The then Prime Minister knew. The media knew. We all knew. It's inconceivable that the current Prime Minister didn't know. So why did he choose to ignore it?
Mr. Speaker, I appointed an independent advisor to fully examine the matter, establish facts and report back. That's the process that the party opposite called for. That's the process that we followed.
I think it's a high past it finishes.
Mr. Speaker, 2 years ago the Prime Minister commissioned me to propose 30 ways to boost growth and make Britain the most competitive country in the world. So far we're underway with about half of them. but some of the most valuable, like reforming ponderous and expensive utilities regulators or building on our international lead in open banking, haven't moved at all. So will he meet with me to discuss how to channel our inner Nigel Lawsons and unblock the arteries of our economy with low-cost, pro-competition, supply-side reforms?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend has a long track record in advocating for and implementing policies that increase our competitiveness and reform the supply side of our economy. His report was fantastic, and I look forward to meeting with him to discuss them further and help drive growth in this country.
From West.
Mr. Speaker, ambulance waiting times are out of control. My constituent contacted me regarding her 93-year-old mother who lay collapsed on the ground at home for 17 hours and then queued for 13 hours to get into the hospital. And yet on Monday, the Prime Minister said he had his fingers crossed that ambulance waiting times would be reduced. Does he really think that's enough?
Mr. Speaker, if the Honourable Lady actually looked, we published on Monday a comprehensive plan to reduce wait times in A&E and with ambulances, backed with more funding and reform of the system, more beds, more ambulances, more staff, and indeed, Mr. Speaker, it was a plan that was warmly welcomed by all of those working in emergency care and the ambulance services. They recognise that this plan will deliver reduced waiting times and improve care across the country, including in Labour-run Wales, where there are some things we can benefit them from.
Jerome Mayo.
Mr. Speaker, if you grow up in Norfolk and you want to be a dentist, the nearest place you can train is in Birmingham or in London. So it's not really surprising, is it, that in Norfolk we have a dearth of dentists, whether it's NHS or private. We also know that where there's a dental training school, more dentists end up working locally. So will my right honourable friend agree to look again at the benefits of establishing a dental training school alongside the excellent medical school at the University of East Anglia?
Well, Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend will know that there are around 400 dentists with NHS activity in Norfolk and Waveney, but he's right, the centres of dental development build on the existing local infrastructure to help retain and recruit dentists, and I would advise him to encourage his local integrated care board to look at proposals for one of those centres in his area.
Mary Kelly Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister once said that he didn't have any working class friends. So we may not be aware that today 500,000 hard-working people are on strike, including in his own constituency.
Kids are in today, schools are on strike. First day of 5.
Going to get a grip and negotiate with working people, or does he intend being remembered as the PM who silenced and sacked hard-working nurses, paramedics, teachers, rail workers and firefighters in a cost of living crisis?
Well, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to teachers, we've actually given teachers the highest pay rise in 30 years. Includes a 9% pay rise for newly qualified teachers and record investment in their training and development. I am clear that our children's education is precious and they deserve to be in school today being taught. And actually the party opposite would do well to say that the strikes are wrong and we should be backing our school children.
Dr. Neil Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sadly, suicide is the biggest killer of young people under 35 in the UK. My constituent, Andy Airy, along with Tim Owen and Mike Palmer, are the three dads walking. Andy, Tim and Mike each tragically lost their precious daughters, Sophie, Emily and Beth, to suicide, and have campaigned tirelessly through charity walking for suicide awareness and prevention to be included in the school curriculum. I've been humbled to support them, including joining them on their UK walk as they came through Penrith, with their petition which is due for parliamentary debate on the 13th of March, and with my early day motion which has support from right across the House. Would the Prime Minister join me in paying tribute to the three dads, and would he meet with me and the three dads to discuss suicide prevention and ultimately save young lives in the future?
Well, Mr. Speaker, of course I pay tribute to Andy, Tim and Mike, especially for channeling their own personal tragedies into such positive action to prevent this happening to other families. That is inspiring and they deserve enormous credit. The government is taking action to improve the provision of mental health services for young people in schools and colleges, but I would be delighted to meet with him and Andy, Mike and Tim to discuss what more we can do.
Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for that welcome. Ordinary people didn't need to hear an IMF forecast to understand that the UK economy is the worst performer amongst the leading nations in the world. They live with it every day. People know their energy bills are through the roof. They know that 750,000 households face defaulting on their mortgages while house prices fall. And they know that food prices are rising at a record rate of 16.7% as of today. The Prime Minister is 100 days in office, his party 13 years in power. In all that time, does the Prime Minister ever reflect that the only thing that the Tory party has been good at is pushing people into poverty?
Oh, Mr. Speaker, it is wonderful to hear from the right honourable gentleman, and I'd love to see him in his place. What I would say is that we're continuing to deliver for people across the UK, including and in Scotland. He mentioned poverty. Poverty today, lower than when the Conservatives first came into office. Inequality, lower than when the Conservatives first came into office. And the number of people in low pay, the lowest on record.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today in my constituency there is a great sense of shock and disbelief following last night's horrific dog attack that killed a 4-year-old girl. Wow. The police investigation is still going on and it wouldn't be appropriate to speculate on the circumstances. But it would mean a great deal if, on behalf of the House, the Prime Minister could send our condolences to the family and to the community, and to thank the emergency services for dealing with the situation with their customary compassion and professionalism.
Prime Minister.
Well, I thank my honourable friend and send my condolences, and I'm sure the whole House's condolences, to the girl's family and the community after this horrific incident. And I join him in thanking the emergency services. They have responded rapidly and professionally, and I know that my honourable friend himself will be supporting them and his constituents during this difficult time.
Christine Jardine.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. This past weekend...
Deputy Speaker. Deputy. That was a bit of a cock up.
Can I blame the painkillers?
Painkillers? What painkillers are you on, my love?
Apologies, Mr. Speaker, and thank you. This past weekend, I visited a charity which was hosting an exhibition in my constituency about metastatic breast cancer, which claims 31 lives each day in the United Kingdom. And the women there asked me to convey at the first opportunity to the government the need for more awareness, more support, more research and more drug availability. Can I ask the Prime Minister if he will do that, if he will help to bring that support? But also, I have written to the Scottish Government asking for their support. If in his next meetings with the First Minister he would mention it to her.
Well, Mr. Speaker, can I pay tribute to the charity that the Honourable Lady mentioned and for the work they do? She's absolutely right. Awareness is key in tackling and identifying breast cancer symptoms early. One of the reasons why we're investing more in diagnostic and screening tools to make sure that we can detect more cancers earlier and treat them and ultimately save people's lives. I would be happy to pick up this particular topic with the First Minister when I next speak to her and ensure that we are working together to improve cancer services for everyone, regardless of where they live in the UK.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the United Kingdom government's negotiations with the EU regarding the Northern Ireland Protocol, would the Prime Minister kindly confirm to the House that the sovereignty of the United Kingdom and its four nations will not be compromised?
Mr. Speaker, I can give my honourable friend that assurance. I know this is something that he cares passionately about. The implementation of the protocol is having an impact for communities in Northern Ireland. That's why it needs to be addressed, and that's what we are attempting to do through constructive dialogue. But the goal in that must be to ensure Northern Ireland's place in our precious union.
Kim Jones. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since the election of the fascist Israeli government in December last year, there has been an increase in human rights violations against Palestinian civilians, including children. So can the Prime Minister tell us how he is challenging what Amnesty and other human rights organisations are referring to an apartheid state?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Lady also failed to mention the horrific attacks on civilians inside Israel as well. And it's important in this matter to remain calm and urge all sides to strive for peace, and that's very much what I will do as Prime Minister and in the conversations that I've had with the Israeli Prime Minister.
Sir John Hayes, final.
Mr. Speaker, in 2016, the British people had the wisdom and foresight to take back control from foreign
Have we got it
lawmakers.
yet?
And when they did so, they believed we were taking back control of our borders. Yet since that time, we have faced wave after wave of illegal migration. So will my right honourable friend, without further delay, bring forward the necessary legislation
but he
to
said that
turn
weeks
back
ago,
the
didn't he,
tide
when he
and
gave that
fulfil
speech?
the promise that was made to the British people then?
Well, Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend makes an excellent point. That's why one of this government's 5 priorities and promises to the British people is indeed to stop the boats. We will introduce new legislation that makes it unequivocally clear that if you arrive in this country illegally, you will not be able to stay. We will swiftly detain you and remove you to your own country or a safe third alternative. That's the right and responsible way.
2 years, maybe.
Completes questions.
Fucking, that was it. Wow. Hang on, Indy. Let me just get Mix Minus back on so you won't hear yourself back. Hang on. There you go, Indy. You should be all right now.
Come on, I was watching a thing last night that was happening in Ireland, in Cookstown. Basically, something had happened, and a lot of people from the county of Tala, which is in Cookstown, turned up to protest outside this migration centre. Now, from what I could see was going on there was either a young girl or a female from the community had been either sexually abused or interfered with by one of these guys, and there was a strong male contingency of about 100, 200 blokes outside this migration centre. What the fuck is it going to take before the government actually pull their finger out of their ass and actually start sending them back like they said they're going to?
This is the thing, right? If you look at what England's doing,
but we're not doing fuck all.
Well, this is the whole point. At least Ireland are getting out, they're protesting outside, bigger protests. You know what I mean? These are like, there's a good few hundred people at them. Oh, it's like I said at the beginning. Lots of cities, and you find the lefty cities, Bristol. My city's just given up. We've got loads around us, and we're getting more.
Yeah, well,
people should be come to the lefty city, get protesting there, because most people in these lefty cities are sat on the fence, and they're the people that, well, if it's not affecting me, then I'm not really bothered. Until people won't do anything until something has to physically happen.
Exactly. What happens to them themselves? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's inevitable. Crime rate will go up. I'm not saying it will.
But look at numbers that the police are releasing to the government, mate.
Yeah.
It's going.
But then you get the lefties going, oh no, you're pigeonholing the minority of people, but if the figures are showing that crime rates are going up on certain crimes, then we got to start thinking, well, where's that coming from?
All this bollocks, the jibber jabber he was just talking about, oh yeah, we detain them. Yeah, you detain them for 10 years, you fucking bollocks all our resources, i.e. the UK, the things that's full of UK people. That's the reason why all the homeless are sat on the streets and the fucking veterans can't get nowhere to live, which I think is like, my views on the British Army. I know you're a soldier yourself, but I understand they've got a job to do, and they go, they get told what to do. But but that's not here or there. They should be given a place to fucking live at the end of the day.
Well,
everyone in this country has a right for somewhere to live, a roof over their fucking head. So why the fuck are they giving it to all these migrants? Saying, yeah, come and live here, come and live here. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, it's a bit different. It's how we treat veterans and things. That you look at other countries, and it's a typical example. You look at the US, right? I went there to Disney in the US, right? And they absolutely love veterans, and they give, you know what I mean? And that's why they have a law called stolen valor.
Yeah.
Because veterans are heavily discounted. You only got to go in and say, I'm a veteran, and you get discounts, or if not even free.
Yeah,
right? So that's why, we don't have that sort of law in the UK, so we should be honouring our veterans more.
Yeah, we should.
And it's not... If you served, it's all. I don't know. It's just
over in America, they have something called Veterans Day, don't they? Where they go out and they praise all the veterans and everything.
Well, we're supposed to have it. We have an armed forces day. We have an armed forces day, right? Yeah. We have one day, but Pride gets a week.
I know, it's pathetic. It's pathetic.
That's
what they get a week. What the fuck did they ever fight for?
Well.
They didn't fight for anybody's freedom other than their own, and most of them don't even do that.
But where is the LGBT community actually coming out about all these trans people? They got that serial rapist.
Yeah.
They got that one that was moved to that serial rapist moved to a female prison, has now been moved to a male prison, but you guarantee he'd be on the numbers.
Yeah, of course he will be.
Right, so he's down. He'd be down on seg, on the rule.
Or he'll be somewhere in the shower.
Well, so when does the stupidity stop? When does the LGBT community and say, "Oh, do you know what? You're really making a mockery out of everything we stand for"?
I've got a mate, and she's exactly like that, mate.
Yeah.
She says that they're just taking the fucking piss. She doesn't agree with this whole woke agenda about letting your kids see fucking, men dressed up as women and vice versa. She doesn't agree with all that. She sits here with me and we have real in-depth conversations about it. She's like, I can't believe this. I'm like, well, it's happening. Do you know what I mean? And I showed her stuff on Telegram. She's like, I'm like, yeah, seriously. I goes, that's what's happening. Fucking fully grown men parading kids around in fucking bodysuits and shit in nightclubs and getting people to stuff fucking $10 bills in their phone. Yep. Like, what the fuck? It's just unbelievable, like. This whole fucking wokeness is just bollocks, mate.
Exactly. That's it. Time Lord said LGB okay, but I stop at the T.
Listen, I just call them the alphabet gang. It makes it easier. Then you don't have to fucking string off all the letters, do you? Alphabet gang.
Alphabet spaghetti.
You're going to have to watch Sasha, because I'm going out.
Well, they're in it. Basha! So I've got a guest coming in now. I've got the Sashakins coming in.
I don't know where mine is. She was asleep right next to me.
Oh, Blasha!
She was asleep. Where's the dog?
Oh, and later on in about, I don't know, a couple of hours, I'll be doing a live stream from the back of the van.
Oh, are you? Oh, yeah. I read your post.
Yeah, just to show everyone what we're going to do, rip out everything. It's going to be fucking mint, mate.
We've got this. Hang on. Local video. See, this is how bad Bristol's getting. I've got to find a video now. Raw footage. January 28th. We got this.
What have you got going on in the background? All I can hear is like a saw or something.
Like a knocking.
No,
that's the washing machine. Hang on.
It's taking off.
So much knocking against the side. I go and move the thing that's knocking.
Yes, Time Lord, it is. It's pure wrong. You shouldn't be exposed to that sort of stuff at their age. They don't even know what fucking sex is, so why would you want to parade them around in the front of a load of drag queens? It just don't make sense to me. It's warped, fucked up, sick mentality. Bristol's gone nuts. It was when I was down there, Kip the Sniffer. I went down there with Tyrant.
Got to suffer it a minute. Got to suffer it.
That's right, don't worry about it.
You'll have to suffer it 1 minute.
I'll suffer it anyway.
You shouldn't be able to hear it because it's.
I can hear it. Well, I've not got you coming through the TV, so I've got a set of speakers there, and it goes in through my computer, so I've got quite a good bit of sound.
It's a bit weird because as soon as I shut up, my microphone cuts out.
Yeah, it's sound cancellation, isn't it? All right, bye, Bob. Basher.
Don't know. Anyway, we got this new migrant place.
Yeah.
It's a 4-acre site.
Yeah.
And I'll have a look. We'll put the video up. Hang on.
So this is what they used to call St. Christopher's School, which was closed and is now earmarked, well, for development into retirement flats.
See, it's earmarked, right, for retirement flats, for development. So they're going to knock some of the structures down behind it. These are all probably listed buildings at the front. So that's like a massive mansion house. Site, you can't get into it because it's classed as enclosed premises. So there's no physical way in, no broken fences, no barrier that, I can cross to get in without being in what the class is enclosed premises. Yeah, so me and Shawnee went up there and walked all the way around. It's a 4-acre site.
Yeah.
Massive site. And so this is in the smack bang in Westbury. So it's just backs onto Clifton Downs. Now, average house prices by Zoopla, I think I checked, it was £600,000, the average house price in the area.
What is the average house? 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 bed, average?
Well, houses like that, mate. And I'll show you some in a minute when we walk around the back. These are like all detached properties, massive, like Victorian buildings, some of them, and nice houses.
To me, because of the work on the columns and that.
But in the meantime,
yeah.
Refugees.
So it's going to house refugees from Ukraine, Russia, Syria. So these are like all the houses around the area. So there's a house here on the right-hand side which basically backs on to the grounds. Right. So these are all the houses. Look all the fucking. Now that building directly in front of the red brick is another one of their buildings they're living in already. But yeah, big 4-acre enclosed site, and the only real entrance is round the front, big metal security gates.
Look at that scrappy old Ford Fiesta. Fucking hell. It's probably like 4 pieces.
That's the back end of it.
And I bet you that thing's still running as well.
Yeah, I expect it is. Back at the front now of it.
It's a 16 in about 3 years, mind you.
Mm.
All locked up like Fort Knox.
No, you can't get on the property, but then you find someone with a drone to fly over the property.
Yeah, exactly. That's allowed.
Exactly. They can't say shit then, can they?
A lot of money's worth in the buildings, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, they do look Victorian.
Westbury Park is a really, really, really nice area.
I'll have to have a look at that on Google Maps.
Have a look on Google Maps, and go check the area out. Like I said, average house price 600,000. So you can just imagine, some of the property prices out there is 2 million, 1 million. So if they average it out, you got to see how many houses sold in that area and what was 600,000 is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see if I got something else so you can see.
That was hello.
Best bit of the video. Add source.
And I'll put a blanket down for you. You can lie on the blanket and get warm here, fatty. Is that what you want Danny to do?
So these are like big, massive gates. And it's a security company that's Anora Health was on the site originally. It was a vaccine centre.
It's like a security right down the bottom, look.
It's the car. It's a taxi.
It's this place, definitely.
You see beer cans all in the on the fence in a bit.
There's security right there. It's a taxi. He's got a taxi plate on right down there.
Is that all right for you there, Basher? Princess Basher? Yeah? So I just had to sort the dog out, Tyrant.
Who's sat in there?
Yeah, that is taxi plates as well.
Yeah, that's why I zoomed in.
But then it might not be. It could be a security thing.
Well, no, it's a taxi plate, mate. Definitely, 100%. You've seen it zoom right in.
Yeah, but you can't see it clearly. You get what I mean?
That's what I mean. You can't get into it.
I'm not disputing it's a taxi. I'm saying it could be something else though. But then why would they have a taxi there?
Well, they're kind of probably living in there. There is it is being used at the moment, like I said. There are refugees, migrants, whatever you want to call them, in there at the moment.
They're already active, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they're already active somewhere.
And I bet you the cans of beer, they're all Eastern European.
Well, you see them on the fence in a minute up here on the left.
I'll tell you what, not there.
It is all part of it. It's massive.
Like and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah, watch.
Never car there. A few cars there.
Budweiser.
Yeah, Budweiser's American. Or Budvar.
No access to COVID clinic.
So, oh no, there could have been a COVID clinic.
There's a Downs there, look.
Yeah, see it.
Massive open space. So, that was it. Oh, and then we went to, on the way down, they're going to try and change the name of this place here. That's what they're going to try and change next, or make him change. There's a road there that's actually called Black Boy Hill. And at the top of there, it's called Black Boy Hill Cycles. And I wonder if that shop owner will feel pressure to change his name.
They've been doing something like that in London.
Yeah. But I always thought the Black Boy always refer to chimney sweeps.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
I don't know.
Exactly that.
It does have other meanings, I do believe.
Yeah, of course you can use it.
You know, but
you can use it as racial slur, but it all depends on.
Really, can you? Black boy, isn't that
not? It all depends on the context you put it in, though. Really, doesn't it?
How is that racial? Black boy. The words black boy. How is that a racial? How can anyone now take it as a racial connotation?
But it depends on the way they put it in which context they put it in. You know, your argument.
Yeah, but over the other side of the road, right? Yeah. Over the other side of the road. Let me show you something. Let me just show you something right here. When we go down the road. All right. Hang on. What about?
White Ladies Road.
What about that then? What about that? Is that not racial? What should they not change the name of that road? White Ladies?
I'm sure you'll get some little millennial fuck that will take offence to that. Of course you will. The minute colour's added into anything, you get someone that disagrees with it. It doesn't matter what it is.
And mind you, Bristol has already changed the name of Colston. They ripped his statue down. They changed the name of the Colston Tower to Beacon. And they changed the name of the Colston Hall to Beacon. Is it Beacon Theatre or something like that? You know, so they're trying to erase. And you know what I mean? It's not all everyone. You know, slavery happened. Yes, it happened. You know. We got to live it down for the generations to come. We got to eradicate everybody that made the cities to what they are, because most of the people, you know, wouldn't be in the city now, and it wouldn't be so multicultural than what it is if it wasn't for the things that happened in the past.
It makes me laugh because it's a known fact that Abraham Lincoln was one of the people that abolished slavery, and he was a Republican, mate, and they're meant to be racist as fuck. So it just shows you did it. Little fact there for you.
It's like I said, Bristol is one of the most diverse cities in the country.
Yeah.
Right? Yet, we're all segregated into our own areas.
It's like postcode lottery, isn't it, mate?
It's not. It's called self-segregation.
Yeah. Where you live, you stay.
Well, it's not. You know, my area is predominantly made up of Anglo-white.
Yeah.
But it's made up of other denominations from white Polish.
Well, of course it is everywhere.
We have limited black people living in Hartcliffe and around this community. Now, you go to St. Paul's, you've got the Windrush generation, Jamaican, West Indies, all that generation. You go to Eastern, Stapleton Way, you've then got the Somalians, Africans, that area, them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's yeah, we are diverse, but we're self-segregated. So how is that good? Because there's parts, you know.
Same as all these 15-minute city bollocks things that are popping up. All these bollards and that are popping up in people's streets and that. It's like.
Well, you look at it. Bath sat up and took it. 15-minute cities. They've put the barriers up already. The big, they're like planting boxes.
Yeah.
Right, we're filled in with like soil, and it's being, it's being fed on. Like we're making it greener, safer for your communities to go out, for children to play in the streets.
It's fucking bollocks,
they're
mate.
Selling it on the idea of it's safer. Live in your 15-minute communities because you're less likely to get killed if you stay within 15 minutes of your home. That's what will be the next thing, right?
So what are you going to do? What are you going to do if someone decides to pull a gun on you, get to chase you around for 15 minutes, then pop home for a cup of tea?
So basically, they want to create ghettos, don't they? So is that not a ghetto? We've all watched these films, haven't we? Running Man, and when we're all in our areas, aren't we? Tiny little areas, and we go out, we're going into the Badlands, and we're crossing the Badlands in areas that we're not supposed to be in.
You're going from my side of the street to their side of the street.
Is that not coming? Does that not sound logical sense? That's what's happening now. We'll be in our own little ghettos. You're not allowed to come into my ghetto because what I've got here is precious to me. You see what I mean? Can't come shopping here, mind. Because each area will have the amount of food in their stores for that area and the people and the population. So people won't be able to come over here to shop. You see how confined people are going to be, but there'll be those ones that think, "Oh, this is so easy. I've got everything around me. 15 minutes." Yeah, that's when electric vehicles actually come into their own, because
mate, do you know what I think
we all know electric vehicles don't have range on them, don't
mate, do you know what I think will happen at some point? They'll put fucking rails on the roads, mate, and then have us driving around in fucking monorail cars so they can control everything.
No, electric vehicles will come into their own when we're in 15 minutes, because we'll be 15 minutes away from a charging station, won't we? And that'll be home. We won't need to go on long journeys.
It's bollocks, isn't it? The way. So say it's right. So hypothetically speaking, say you move to Scotland and I want to come and visit you. Fuck me, mate. How many times am I going to charge my Tesla on the way up there?
It's been proven fact that they've done it from Cornwall to Bristol, right? And it cost him nearly 3 times more to charge his vehicle than it would if he filled his car up.
Now, I'll make you laugh, right? I don't know nothing about electrical cars. I just thought you went up to it, you plugged your bit into their bit, then plugged it into the car and it charged. I don't know about. So what are the prices for this so-called fuel that you use to fucking do your DeLorean then?
Well,
how much does it cost?
That's not the price, right? It's not the price. It's down to the way you charge it, right? Because you get different. So you might have a fast charger, so the little bit per unit is going to cost more. So whereby your car, if you plugged it in normally, if I plugged it into my house, my battery would probably take 8 hours to charge because you've only got a certain kilowatt charger. It's a bit like you get fast chargers for your mobile phone, don't you? Charge your phone within an hour. Well, these charging places do that. But your journey, you will have to factor in charging times.
Yeah, and I've seen
because your car's not going to be charged in half an hour. It will have some charge put it in. So you'll be, it's not 15
That's
minutes.
bollocks,
Is
mate.
about the only decent thing is within 15 minutes of your house.
At least if your car breaks down, you're only 15 minutes away. You've got to remember that. That's the perk of it.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember that all the hospitals, they're more than 15 minutes away, most of them.
Yeah.
What's that?
See, my wife just asked a question. She said, all right, and what about then if you've got a holiday caravan 2 or 3 hours away from your house? And my answer to that question is you will only be able to visit that place a few times a year. It's a bit like if you have family members living outside your 15 minutes, you're only going to be able to see them a couple of times a year, maybe, if you're good. Because we got to remember, by then we're going to have digital ID and a social credit system, aren't we? So, if you're not good, you're not going to be able to go.
Yeah, what's your take on all these shopping trolleys they've got Audis now with the facial recognition and everything on it?
Well, they brought that into all, it's how they bring the technology in, is how they get it in blindly, and it's not blindly because they do everything under,
blind as fuck,
self-service checkouts was the first one, wasn't it? And now we've seen.
It makes me laugh though. You go to a checkout. Why the fuck does your face have to be on camera on a checkout?
Because you've all done this, right? Look at all the people that never bagged their items, just didn't even bother to scan it, just fucking put it in their trolley. Because used to be a facility on the checkouts whereby you said, not going to bag the item, isn't it? Don't scan it, just put it in there. Just put it in your trolley. Now, that's what they're stopping, isn't it? They want to get it because eventually they don't want you paying with any sort of physical card. When you walk into a supermarket, what they want you to do is they want you to sign up to that supermarket. Yeah. So they will log your face, your credit card, your debit card, payment method. So as soon as you walk in there, and I went into Aldi the other day, right? And all the barcodes on the Aldi packaging, they're massive barcodes.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no way. So eventually, I think Audi's going to do it. Is the moment you're going to have to register, right, to be a member, because we're all now, got club cards and shit like that. So you're going to be a member. So with that member, you register your payment details. So the moment you walk in that store, boom, it either gets your face, right, and that's your payment method. We've seen these TikTok videos. I watched one the other day. She walked in, registered her card, put her palm over the thing read her palm, and before she went out, she went over the cash thing, put her palm over, and paid for it. So there is people going to be willingly use it.
Of course there is.
Use it.
They're using it at the moment in China and Japan, I think. There's a video, and basically, one sec. Basically, it scanned your face. You go to the store, you wait outside, there's like a big massive tablet thing, you stand in front of it, scan your face, then you get entry to the shop. But if you haven't got it, it's all about your credits. Basically, over there, it's all about your credit score. If your credit score ain't good, you ain't getting shit. And that's what it's all down to.
Don't know. We don't know. We don't know what this is just surmising how we're seeing how the fourth industrial revolution and things like that is heading. Right. You're not going to be able to go, is it? Because you're going to need. Because there's nothing that you need that is more than 15 minutes away from your house. Why would you need Why would you need a breakaway when you when you have everything but own nothing?
Well, I get that, but when you've got children, they like holidays. They like going away. They don't want to be stuck in.
You're not getting it, are you? The thing is, 15 minutes. Why do you need to leave your 15 minutes when you have everything here, but you own none of it?
Right. So you're saying holidays won't allow it?
No.
So what about all these caravan parks going to go bust?
It doesn't make a difference, is it? In the grand scheme of things, when they control you, is it?
And that's what it's all down to, control.
Yeah.
You can't do this. If you do, we're going to sanction you.
Well,
that's basically it.
There'd be a lot more political prisoners when, you know, what's his name? What was his name in Demolition Man?
Who
played by, what's his name?
Associate Bob?
No.
The other
one who lived underground.
Oh, I know who you're on about. Yeah, I know who you're on about, yeah.
John Spartan. No, not John Spartan. The one who lived, he was a copper.
Yeah.
The one who lived underground. Oh, there'd be more people like him. No, Simon Phoenix was the bad one. The one who lived, who was the renegade. Come on.
Someone in the chat must know.
Edgar Friendly.
That's it, Edgar Friendly.
Edgar Friend. There'd be more people like him. We'll all be living underground, won't we? And I'll, you know.
Going to scrounge the top.
Going up, scrounging bits of food, innit? Nicking off the establishment and going back underground again. You know, can people see it? It's like, that's, unless you conform. Dennis Leary played him, that was it. You know, if people don't conform, I can see, you know, it's how it's going to become.
It's not a good situation, people. Do you know what I mean? We've been speaking about this for fucking years now, haven't we, Tyrant? Since...
No, yeah. That's what, universal basic income.
Yep.
No. See, this is what... See, they've already got people, right? They've already got people on the social credit system, sort of, anyway, at the moment with UC. But they want to bring in a UB, which is a universal basic income, so where everybody's paid the same, no matter what.
So even if you're working a job that you get paid 130 grand for a year, you're going to get paid less. You're going to get paid
it's a UBI, isn't it? Universal basic income. Exactly. I need to bring the sensors down below the fence line because.
What sensors for your camera?
Yeah, on my.
What's this I heard? That someone was giving you shit the other night?
Oh no, mate! It was only like I think it was kids, and I think it was just like a random thinking flying over my fence. It was like a big, like close error, like big metal thing.
Oh yeah.
Came over my fence, but it was the first time.
Well, so if you'd had the fucking dog or B or you or the kids or anything, man, that'd have been fucking.
That's like Fox and Ban. UBI is just UC and housing benefit rebranded. Exactly what it is. Exactly. And like you said, the easiest ones to control first are the people on universal credit and any sort of state benefit. They'll be the easiest to control. So they're not even worried about the people that are on benefit. It's the ones that are self-sufficient and everyone like that at the moment that are going to be the harder ones. But like I said, they can sort all that out tomorrow. They can switch currency off, make it worthless tomorrow if they want. And no matter how much you bleat on and keep it cash, all right? When they switch it off, they can make it worthless, all right? And that's what they will do. So, you know, change it. I think personally, if you can, change it into exchangeable goods, valuable goods, precious metals, possibly. Yeah. Is that Mr. Boomer came in?
Yeah, is he on his way back from Minster now, is he?
I don't know if he's on his way back now, is he? I don't know.
Well, he sent me a video. He's in the car and it was fucking snowing. Right, there's snow on the floor anyway.
Oh, he sent me that video.
Buy gold and silver, yep.
Who said that? Bygone, yeah, Boomer. Yeah. Exchangeable commodities.
And
that's a lot of snow.
Oh, you got the same video, did you?
Yeah. That's a hell of a lot of snow.
It is, mate.
That's what I call a blizzard.
Yep. That is what I call a blizzard.
Hello, Andy.
Anyway, Andy.
Indy, keep people entertained. I'm going to make a drink.
All right, so what's everybody's take in the chat on these 15-minute cities? Do you think they're going to work? Do you think, they're a waste of fucking time? What? Let me know in the comments, man. I think it's a waste of fucking time restricting people's movement. Do you know what I mean? You can't do it. Say if you've got a mum that's ill 300 miles away, 15 minutes, piss off, mate. I'm going there. I don't care. Tyrant made a joke about people living under the ground. Yeah, it happens already, mate. There's people in America that live in the old underpasses and tube stations and shit there. Yeah, basically, that's what they're doing. They're just turning the land into a big, massive fucking area to control people. Just throw up a few walls and it'll be fine. I have a plan A, B, C, D, and my plan is E. To buy 3 wheels off. That's fair enough. Those who want to see what is in the supermarkets in Minsk, Belarus, new video. Yes, go and give Boomer's new video check out, guys. He's been over in Minsk. Very cold. He's had some brilliant videos out from Christmas and stuff like that. So get over and have a look at his channel. If you're not subbed to him already, give him a sub and watch his videos, man. Smash the like button on him. Yeah, you're not right there, Blunt. You're not wrong there, Blunt Crusader. Open air prison. It's a bit like the Hunger Games. Yep, that's the way things are going. Do you know what I mean? Me and Tyrant and Boomer and there's a few other people. We've been saying this for fucking months, man. I've heard in Romania. They probably do live in the sewers. You never know, mate. They do in America, like I said. 15-minute prisons land in May. Big prisons go wrong. Winds. Yep, exactly. 15-minute cities, you're allowed to leave the area 3 times per year. Fuck that, I'll leave whenever I want. Oh, look, Tyrant's had a facelift. Oh, Tyrant. Oh, it's definitely Tyrant. Your tongue hanging out and everything. Put it away, Tyrant. It's Tyrant, the dog. He's back, and the camera zooms right in and back out again. We will not have that structure for everyone to have an electric car. No, we won't. So there are ways. What's that there? Pronoun. I love it, mate. Love it. The new Temple Mead flats in Bristol. They're going to be zoned. What's that? We will all on a basic. People got jabbed to go on holiday. Or listen, mate, Michael, my family done exactly the same. There's only 3 members out of 10 of us that ain't jabbed because we saw the bullshit, deceit, and lies, mate, and we started questioning things. As most of you know, I lost my mum because of the pandemic, and my niece. So the general public, the NCP will accept 25 minutes at cities. Yeah, they're fucking useless. 15-minute cities. What's that?
Right back.
Some made a joke once about the fart tax.
Did you like Winnie?
I thought it was you. I thought you'd been to a plastic surgeon.
She just got up and barked and said, because I showed her on camera, she wants something nice. And I said, no.
It's always the case, isn't it? I won't thank that after that.
Oh. When I obviously hang on, let me see if I can find it.
Mate.
Any problem is remembering where I put it. No. Keep people entertained. Oh, I can't have fucking.
How's your new computer running? Good?
Yeah, really good. Hang on. I just need to go into this program a minute and get the footage. because I haven't brought the raw footage in. I did bring it in once, but I deleted it, so it's held. I don't keep nothing in on my drive. I got to go into a cloud.
Basically, bro, now when you put a dog on, he's like, "Oh, it's my missus. I fucking wet myself nearly."
Oh, Winnie's lovely.
Yeah.
Nearly had to go and get another one the other day from Bristol and take it to Watford.
Yeah, Watford.
Yeah. Well, no, we were going to have to meet them in a service station. It's Seventon.
Sounds like a dodgy drug deal, mate.
Yeah, it sounds like we're just handing over the dogs.
Because it's inside.
That's our code words. Because
it's inside.
The
dog. Indian Tyrant, can you shed light on the fake G4-year-old Afghanistan refugee we've had?
What fake G4? Where was that? Let me have a look. Oh, I got so many there. Hang on. Can you shed a light? Hang on, let me bring the highlight out.
Indian Tyrant, can you spread some light on the fake Q4-year-old? Or sorry,
the one that he was a refugee, didn't he? And then he killed. Yeah. I haven't been following the story, to be quite honest. It's like limited. I don't watch mainstream. That's it. I'm so far out of it. Hang on. Right, did it download that? Not yet. It's going to take a while because there's a couple of files downloading. That's the only problem when you've taken it off the cloud. You got to wait for it to download. I got some more footage. Yeah, he was. Yeah, but we knew there was loads coming in, weren't there? There was like loads of migrants coming in claiming they were children, and then we could get them. And it's like dental records, and I thought, well, I'll be fucked if I went to other countries and said I'm 14, and then they looked at my dental records and go, fucking hell, you got a fucking face like a 60-year-old. I like a bit of self-taking the piss. Good humour. Right. I got to wait for this footage. So we had a fire, and it was an actual fire in the tower block the other day, and that's why all the emergency services were just in the tower block just behind my house, in Oak House in Hartcliffe. What happened, they've got like a bin room, like a chute room, so I believe they can shut their rubbish down the refuse chute, and it's the bin in the bottom.
Yeah.
I reckon someone chucked like hot ash or something down the chute and it caught fire, and that alerted the whole response from Chew Valley, Temple and Bedminster fire stations. It was like, fair play to Avon and Somerset. They brought it under control and they told everybody to stay in their houses or in their flats and not to come out. And you know, when I rocked up, they were just knocking off.
Yeah, Gibbons never said something. Bearded men sat in 8 years. I mean,
oh come on, download you bugger. Why not downloading?
On that note, I read yesterday that another immigrant murdered a 75-year-old. Yeah, I know about that one. He gave her a house. Basically, the woman gave the guy a place to live, and he fucking murdered her.
Yeah, that's all right. You know what I mean? You know. That's just isolated incident. Nothing to compare it with. Yeah, right. Fucking mental.
There was one 14-year-old that ended up in a school, but he had his hairline like Patrick Stewart.
Hang on.
Get a picture of Patrick Stewart up for those of you who don't know who he is. He's got the biggest fucking... His receding hairline's worse than Chris. There you go.
Patrick Stewart, he was the astronomer, wasn't he?
Jean-Luc Picard... No, Patrick Stewart.
Oh, Patrick Stewart, as in like Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
That was Patrick Moore, sorry.
Patrick Moore, and tonight we're going to watch the moon fly past the star, and I'm going to cough a bit and splutter.
Was that? He used to wink a lot, wasn't he?
He'd be like, aye, Captain. God bless his soul, he's dead.
Yeah. Hang on. So, hey there, when you're downloading a double file, it takes forever to download, but when you download them singly,
it's done.
It's
blink
mental.
and you miss it.
Well, it's there already, so hang on, I'm just going to bring this footage up a minute. Got to find the fucking correct screen. Add footage, local video, downloads. Here we go.
He knew his shit, did old Patrick Moore.
You most have all seen this.
I don't know. No, I haven't. There's probably some dick walk past and flick the fag in there, mate.
No, the bin room's self-contained. It's inside.
Oh, so they would have had to put something down there.
Yeah. Could have been a lot worse because these flats are under renovation or having the cladding and all that done.
Yeah.
And they got all that netting out the front, so if that went up, I don't know if that's fire retardant or anything, I'm not sure.
It's plastic netting, it should be.
Yeah.
Whoa. Massive.
We've got the fire control unit there.
Yeah, the incident command, they came from Chew Valley, Temple, which is the central one, and Bedminster, which is about half a mile down the road.
Is that Corvette?
It's like half the brigade over there.
Oh, it's got a Corvette, man. Don't see many of them about.
But we got the old wokery on most of the fire engines that were there. The rainbow flag. There it is. There it is. There it is. The rainbow.
The wokery.
Rainbow connection. Lovers and dreamers and me. All of the under the. Yeah, I thought that was quite weird. No police. Oh, that's a major incident there, mine.
I think that's quite weird. You just singing. Fucking hell, scary.
Yeah, I was singing Permit. Hang on. I was there. You got me, caught me eating the mic then.
Oh.
Not
You need
literally.
one of them covers, man. You need one of them fucking mic covers.
What they call them, a spit shield, which is a pop shield.
No, just the one that goes over the top.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't really need it because this pod mic, when I set it up properly, it gets rid of it.
Yeah, that must have been a major incident, man. That's the command unit there.
It is. Oh, I think it's like, how many stories? 10? Yeah, I think there are about 10 stories. So yeah, it would have been a major incident because it would have been another Grenfell, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I know when I was there, they were saying, oh, could somebody go back inside to get the smoke blankets? So I reckon they put up smoke blankets over the stairwells and shit to stop the smoke rising.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. When they were fighting it, they just kept everyone in their flats.
They contained it all.
Yeah. And each one of those flats are a self-contained, what they call burn box, isn't it? They got
Modules.
so many hours.
Yeah, they're modules.
Yeah.
When they put them together, they're prefabricated. They're already made. They just block them and bolt.
Wow.
Yeah, probably copper sniffer. I was watching that the other day. Coppers in Mackie D's around here, standing there, about 10 of them, all piled out of a van.
Painted.
Didn't see any money shaking hands, mind you.
Obviously, could be so much worse.
Yeah, it could have been.
Well, that block of flats there, if that ignites, mate, because of the burn and that, and ashes and that, it probably set them.
See, I thought it was a training mission. Like, they were training, so that's why there was nobody outside, but then it makes perfect sense, innit? They told everyone in Grenfell to stay in, didn't they?
Yeah. All they'll be doing is following protocol, mate. Seal it off, contain the fire, try and get things Kilburn. Kilburn is a good place, mate. There's plenty of taste up here, man. Trust me. I2V. Still for a couple with me, have you?
No.
There it is. Rainbow.
Fire doesn't discriminate, neither do we. Well, obviously not.
Where's the veterans badge on there then? Where's Help for Heroes or whatever, innit?
Exactly. Talk about organ donation, okay.
Yeah.
Fucking disgrace.
It is.
Not the people working in them, but the people that were allowed to put the fucking bollocks all over the side.
No, it's like...
Mate, fire engines back in the day, they were just a fucking singular unit. No stupid stickers or badges on them. They had the watch on them. They had the insignia of the fire brigade. That is it. All this fucking bullshit, publicity on the side of them.
Yeah.
Fucking bollocks. Keep it the way it is. Don't put the woke bollocks all over it.
Right, let me turn my mic up a minute, because you're all probably not going to be able to hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Just. Right, because...
How comes you sat back in that chair? I can't fucking do that. You're a cunt.
It's called reclining it. It's got a handle on the side.
Mine reclines, but I can't sit back like that in it. I feel like I'm lying in a spaceship or something.
It's nice, I'm telling you. All I need now is a footstool, and I'll be sorted. I need to tilt the camera down a little bit more because there's a little bit too much headroom. You see how much?
Drop the link down in the Telegram group.
Ah, right, hang on. Hang on. I'll copy it. Enoch, I'll give you it privately. Hang on.
Right, listen, I'm gonna jump off because I've got to get ready for my.
I was going to jump off as well. What time is it? Dinner time. Hey, we got to organise a phone in or something. Do one at night or something. You know, got to do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Right, let me sort this out a minute.
I'll just tell everyone what I'm doing in a little while.
What's that?
So if I just tell everyone what I'm doing in a little while.
Carry on, mate.
So,
hang on.
3 o'clock, I'm going live. I've basically managed to get myself hold of a transit van where it's my friend DJs. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to tear all the inside out of it. It's already fully loaded with a cooker and everything. We're going to take all that out and we're going to totally rebuild the inside. So later on today, I'm going to do a live at 3 o'clock GMT and show you exactly what we're doing. Not going to start ripping it apart yet, obviously, because we need to get the stuff sorted. But yeah, we're going to do the whole of the interior. So we're going to take out the bathroom, the cooker, the fridge, the bed, the TV, and put storage and stuff in there. And basically, it's going to be turned into a mobile streaming lab. So yeah, it'd be 3 o'clock. So if you guys want to jump on the live later on at 3, and I'll give you a little look around and I'll show you and tell you exactly what's going to happen to it.
And there you go.
But it's going to be an interesting build. It's going to take about 3 or 4 months, I reckon.
That'd be interesting.
Well, we're going to live stream some of it, but we're also going to do basically videos. So we're going to do step by step of the wiring, step by the plumbing and the gas and stuff like that. But yeah, the picture of the van is on my community tab if you want to go and take a look. Even if you want to drop in some little suggestions and stuff, you know, if you've done a rebuild yourself and turn the van into a camper van, if you've got any suggestions, brilliant. It'd be brilliant.
Sweet.
I'll see you in a bit, dude.
All right, dude. I'll speak to you in a bit.
I'll give you a ring later.
All right, mate.
All right, mate. Right.
I'm going to might play some COD in a bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to do. After I got myself dressed and made myself look decent and had a few more doobies, I was going to pop on the old COD and see if you could invite me. Or I'll wait.
Mate, I've already added you, and now I've got my gamer's ID, my ID for the game.
I'm waiting for so I can fucking buy something off of there.
Right. Well, I've added you because you're showing up on me as like, yeah.
Am I lot? Does it say that I'm fucking?
No, because it won't show you until you spent your money.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then you'll be able to find me in the game. All right, speak to you later, mate.
At 3 o'clock. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I'm gonna get off and play some COD. Should live stream it. I'm pretty shit at it at the moment. On that. Thanks for joining me. I am gonna get out and do some filming. I am. Let's find in the right thing to film. Yeah. Can you hear my dog? She's a snorer. Anyway, let's oh, where is it? Where's the tune I wanted to? Yeah. No. Oh, where is it? I just like to play this to all the haters out there, because this is what I think of you. But other than that, everyone else, thanks for joining me today. It's been all right. But for all you haters, this is especially for you.
I try to live my life every day. Keep out of strife, come what may. I try to do unto others as I haven't do to me, but it can't be done for everyone, and now it's plain to see. You are a cunt, but if that's stinking cunt, say it ain't true, but it tell you you're a motherfucking cunt. You are a cunt, motherfucking cunt. Everybody knows from your head to toes you're a big fat stinking cunt. I try to be real nice, say it twice, be real nice, even though it is hard to keep up this facade. And now I see, dearie me, what a hassle this would be. I'm out of luck, don't give a fuck, cause you're the cunt, not me.
Why don't you go fuck yourself, dickhead?
You are a cunt, you're the stinking cunt. Say it ain't true, but I'm gonna tell you you're a motherfucking cunt. You are a cunt, motherfucking cunt. Everybody knows from your head to your toes you're a big fat stinking cunt.
Why don't you shut that scabion mouth of yours? Will shut up your face.
I try to be real nice, say it twice, good advice, even though it's futile. Fucking imbecile. I don't know why I try to deny this nagging itch. You maniac, gonna get you back, you fucking son of a bitch. You are a cunt, a big fat stinking cunt. Say it ain't true, but he'll tell you you're a motherfucking cunt. You are a cunt, motherfucking cunt. Everybody knows from your head to your toes you're a big fat stinking cunt.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me. Have a good Wednesday afternoon. Catch you later now.